Alright, so your quiz tomorrow is on section 7.4 and 7.5. And the quiz is going to be, I think, like 8 questions. So it'll be a couple questions from each section. So let's take a look at number 1. So 1, 2, and 3, we're just adding with a common base. So the base stays the same, the denominator stays the same. And then we just add the numerators together. So 12 plus 3 is 15. Can we simplify 15 over 5x? Yeah. What does it simplify to? 3 over x, perfect. So this would be your answer. So for all of these problems, just make sure you simplify as much as you can at the end. Let's look at number 2. So our denominator stays the same. It's 9x squared. Can we combine x and 3? Can we subtract these to one term? No. So how do we leave it? X minus 3. Can we simplify this? No. So this is our answer. All right, I'm going to skip 3 just so we have enough time to get through all the problems, but that's the same thing. I'll also post the answers as a PDF on Canvas as soon as I'm done. I have them worked out already. I just need to publish or post it. All right. For 4 through 7, we have to find the least common multiple of the expressions. So first thing we want to do is list all of the multiples of each term. So here we have 3 times x times x. We want to break each thing down as much as we can. What about 6x minus 18? Can we take anything out of 6x and 18? 6. So we can pull out a 6, and what are we left with? X minus 3. And then 6 breaks down into what? 3 and 2. Do we have anything in common? The 3. So the 3 we're only going to list once because it overlaps. So our greatest common factor, or our least common factor, would be 3, 2, x, x, and x minus 3. Now we can just multiply it all together to simplify. 3 times 2 would give us 6. What's x times x? X squared. And x minus 3. And you can just leave it like that. You don't have to multiply them together, FOIL it out, or anything. Any questions here? So let's look at number 5. So we have 5x and 5x times x plus 2. So this is already broken down for us. Do we have anything in common between the two of these? And 5. So we have 5x in common. So we only have to list the 5x once. And then what else do we need? X plus 2. All right, let's look at number 6. So our first term is x squared minus 9. Can we factor that? Yeah. What does it factor into? X plus 3 and x minus 3. So this is like one term here. This is stuck together. It's x squared minus 9. We can say, what are 2 factors of negative 9 that add to 0? So that would be a plus 3 and a minus 3. And then we have x plus 3 here. Do we have anything in common between the two of these? X plus 3. So x plus 3 and x plus 3. So we only have to list that once. So what's our least common multiple? X plus 3 and x minus 3. All right, and number 7. What does x squared minus 3x minus 10 factor into? X minus 5 and x plus 2. Perfect. X minus 5 and x plus 2. Do we have anything in common? X plus 2 and x plus 2. So what is our least common multiple? x minus 5, and x plus 2. Any questions from this section? All right, number 8, you won't have a question like this on the quiz, but it's good to know. What is the error here? So they just multiplied the denominators and then subtracted the numerators. Can we do that? No, our denominators aren't the same. So what would we need to do to make them the same?
Multiply the other side by
Awesome. So we just multiply this one by x minus 1, I don't really have space here, times x minus 1. And then we would multiply this fraction by x plus 3, and this by x plus 3. So they just forgot to multiply the tops to then give us this denominator in the bottom here. All right, let's look at number 9 to find the sum or difference. So for these, we want to find our least common denominator and then multiply the numerators by whatever's missing there. So let's break down our denominators here. So we have 2 times x, and here we have 3 times x. Anything in common between these two denominators? And x. So our least common denominator would be 2 times 3 times x, because we only have to list the x once. And then this would simplify to 6x squared. If our denominator is 2 times 3 times x, what is missing from here to give us this? So we have 2 times x. So what else is missing? So we have 2, we have x, and we have x. So 3 is what's missing. So we need to multiply the top and the bottom by 3. Multiplying the bottom by 3 is what gets us this denominator. So we don't really need to do anything there. We just need to multiply our top by 3. So what's 7 times 3? 21. Now we have to do the same thing for our second fraction. So we have 3x here. What's missing to give us this? So we have a 3 and we have an x. So we're missing 2 and x. So we have to multiply the top and the bottom by 2x. So what's 4 times 2x? 8x. So this is minus 8x. Can we simplify anything here? No. So we can just leave our answer like this. Or you could rewrite it in standard form and put the minus 8x first, but it doesn't matter. You can just leave it here. All right, let's look at number 10. So first thing we need to do is write our least common denominator. Can we factor x minus 1 or x plus 2? No. So this is just x minus 1. This is just x plus 2. So what's our least common denominator going to be? X minus 1 times x plus 2. So here we have x minus 1. What's missing to give us this denominator?
2.
X plus 2. So you have to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 2. Multiplying the bottom by x plus 2 gives us this denominator, so we don't even have to do anything there. We just have to work with the top. So I'm just going to leave it as 2 times x plus 2, and I'll multiply it out in the next step. Let's do the same thing for our second fraction. What's missing from our denominator here to give us this least common denominator? X minus 1. So we multiply the top and the bottom by x minus 1.
Are you going to answer 2? That's multiplying the first part? Yeah, how do you know you're doing that?
So in the second one, we have to multiply 4 times x minus 1. So this would be plus 4 times x minus 1. And then we want to multiply this out and multiply this out. So we have 2x plus 4 plus 4x minus 4. And our denominator, don't FOIL it out, just leave it the same. X minus 1, x plus 2. A lot of people on the last test FOILed out the denominator. I don't know why, because we never did that. Just leave it like this. It's just going to waste your time if you multiply it out. It'd still be right, you'd still get credit, but it's just a waste of time. Can we combine anything on the top?
Plus 4 minus 4, and then 2x and 4x.
So 2x plus 4x gives us 6x. And what is plus 4 minus 4? They cancel out. So we have 6x on the top and x minus 1 times x plus 2 on the bottom. So this is our answer. Any questions here? All right, let's look at number 11. Okay. So what is our least common denominator?
X plus 4, x times 3.
X plus 4 times x minus 3. Can't factor these anymore, so they're just stuck the way they are. So our least common denominator is both of them. So what is missing from x plus 4 to give us x plus 4 times x minus 3? X minus 3. So we have to multiply the top and the bottom here by x minus 3. Now when we multiply the bottom by x minus 3, we get this. So you don't even have to do anything with the denominators. We just want to multiply the tops together. So we have 6 times x minus 3. If you want to distribute this out in one step and just write 6x minus 18, totally fine. You can do it all one step. I'm just not doing it all together just to show you what we're doing step by step. In our second fraction, what are we missing here to give us our denominator? X plus 4. So we need to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 4. So we're just multiplying 5x times x plus 4. It's actually, here you got to be careful, a negative 5x because we are subtracting. So negative 5x times x plus 4. Now we want to distribute the top so we can simplify. So 6 times x gives us 6x. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. What's negative 5x times x? Negative 5x squared. And negative 5x times 4? Negative 20x. This is our numerator. The denominator stays the same. Can we simplify our numerator?
Yeah. Yes. Negative 5x squared and then 6x and
Negative 5x squared. So 6x minus 20x gives us negative 14x minus 18 over x plus 4 times x minus 3. You always want to check and see if it factors into something that might cancel out with the denominator, but we can't factor negative 5x squared minus 14x minus 18. So that's it. Are you guys good with this, or you want to see 12 also? Yeah. All right. So first thing, we want to find our least common denominator, so we have to factor our denominator here. What does it factor into? You're close. So what are two factors of negative 18 that add to positive 7? So you had 9 and 2. But which one's negative if we want a positive 7?
Oh,
The 2. So it's x plus 9 and x minus 2. So for our least common denominator, what is in common between the two of these?
X9.
X plus 9. So we only have to list that once.
So X plus 9 and then X minus 3.
X plus 9 times x minus 2. So what are we missing here to give us this denominator?
X minus 2.
We have an x minus 2.
Oh, okay.
Are we missing anything?
No.
Nope. So we're not multiplying anything to this fraction. We just leave it as 14 in our numerator. And then what are we missing from this denominator to give us this one?
Wait, I'm confused. What are you trying to do in this part? Is this...
We're trying to find what we need to multiply by the top and the bottom so we can get our denominator to be this here. So we have to multiply the top and the bottom by x minus 2. So this is plus 6 times x minus 2. Now let's simplify. We need to distribute our 6 to the x and the negative 2. So we have 14 plus 6x minus 12 over x plus 9, x minus 2. Can we simplify our numerator?
Yes.
Yep, we have 14 and negative 12. So 14 minus 12 is what? So 6x plus 2, x plus 9, x minus 2. Can we take anything out of our numerator?
No.
Anything in common between 6 and 2? A 2? So we could take out a 2, and that would give leave our numerator to be 2 times 3x plus 1. But 3x plus 1 is not the same as anything on the bottom, so you don't have to do this. So you can, just to see if we can get anything to cancel out with the bottom, but you can just leave your answer as 6x plus 2. So 1, 2, and 3, we are cross multiplying to solve. So we just cross multiply. So we're multiplying the denominator of one with the numerator of the other, the denominator of the other one with the numerator of the other one. So here we have 3 times x minus 2 is equal to, so that equals stays in the middle, 4x times 1. We want to distribute the 3. So 3x minus 6 is equal to 4x. What should we do next? Subtract the 3x. So negative 6 is equal to x. And that's our answer. For all of these, you want to check for extraneous solution. So we would just plug it into our denominator and see if it gives us 0. We don't get 0 for either one of these, so we're good. It's just always good to get in the habit to check for extraneous solutions. Any questions on that one? All right, number 2. All right, so we cross multiply and cross multiply. So we have 4 times x minus 2 is equal to 6 times x plus 2. What do we need to do next? Distribute. So 4x minus 8, and then what do we get?
6x plus 12.
Awesome. What should we do next?
Subtract 4 on both sides and subtract 12 on both sides.
Awesome. We can subtract 4x on both sides and subtract 12, so we get negative 20 is equal to 2x.
Divide by 2 on both sides.
Divide by 2, so we get x is equal to
Negative.
-10. We can check for extraneous solutions, but we plug that in, we don't get 0, so we're good. Any questions on this one? All right, number 3. Cross multiply, cross multiply. So negative 3 times x minus 5 is equal to x minus 5 times x plus 1. We need to distribute. So negative 3x plus 15. What do we do for the right side of our equation?
Would you?
We have to FOIL. So we have our first terms, x times x is x squared. Our outsides, x times 1 is just x. Our insides, negative 5x, and then our last terms, negative 5. We can simplify, so x squared minus 4x minus 5. What else should we do? Combine like terms. We can add the 3x and subtract the 15 to move it to the other side. So x squared minus x minus 20 is equal to 0. Do we have two factors of negative 20 that add to negative 1?
No. Probably, yes.
Negative 5 and positive 4. So this would be x minus 5 times x plus 4. What do we do from here? Set them both equal to 0. So what do we get for x? X equal to 5 and x is equal to negative 4. Let's plug them in and see if we get any extraneous solutions. So if we plug in x minus 5, what's 5 minus 5? 0. Can we get 0 in the denominator? No. Nope. So is x minus 5 an answer? No. Nope. What about x minus 4? Can we plug those into both, negative 4 into both of these? If we plug in negative 4 here, we get negative 3. If we plug in negative 4 here, we get negative 9. So we're good. So x is equal to negative 4 is our answer. For number 4, you're doing the same thing, just cross multiplying. It's just with bigger numbers. You get x is equal to 9. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to work it out, but I have it worked out on the answers for the PDF. But it's just cross multiplying. All right, let's look at number 5. Here, it just says identify the least common denominator of the equation. All right, so our denominator here is x minus 2, and then we have x and x. What would our least common denominator be? X and x minus 2. That's it. What about for number 6? What's our least common denominator?
X and x plus 5.
Awesome. X times x plus 5. So to find the least common denominator, you just have to make sure everything that's in the denominator is in here. All right, number 7. Solve the equation by using the least common denominator. Check your solution. So what is our least common denominator for 3x and 1? So this is like 4 over 1. So what's our least common denominator here? 3 times x. So we want to multiply everything in our equation by 3x to get our denominators to go away. We don't like working with fractions. We want to get rid of them, so we're going to multiply everything by our least common denominator. So multiply everything by 3x. In our first fraction, 4/3 times 3x, does anything cancel? The 3x. The 3's, not the x, just the 3's. And then what are we left with? 4x. In our second fraction, does anything cancel? The x's. So what are we left with? 6. And then in our third fraction, does anything cancel? So what are we left with?
4 times 6.
What's 4 times 3x? 12x. And then from here we just solve. Subtract 4x on both sides. So 6 is equal to 8x. Divide both sides by 8. What's x equal to?
3/4.
Awesome. 3/4. All right. What was that, Lexi?
Can we try another one?
Yeah. Number 8. So we want to find our least common denominator. So let's list all of our multiples of our denominators. So we have 2 times x. What does 4 break down into? 2 times 2. And 2 and x. Do we have anything in common between the three of these? 2. So we only have to list 1, 2 since we have it repeating. So all three of these are just going to be 1, 2 in our least common denominator. But we also have, but x and x repeats, so we only need to list it once. But do we have anything else that's not accounted for? Another 2. So we have to list that other 2. This one has 2 2's. You can't cancel out both of the 2's in the same denominator. So we need 2 2's. So what's our least common denominator? 4x. So we want to multiply everything by 4x. That way we can get rid of our denominators. So in our first fraction, what cancels? The x, and what else? A 2 out of this 4 cancels out with the 2, but we're still left with 2. Because 4 is 2 times 2, so one of the 2's cancels out with the denominator, but we're still left with 2 on top. Everybody sees that? So we multiplied this by 4x, which was like 2 times 2 times x, really? So the 2 cancels out with the 2, and the x cancels out with the x. But we're still left with a 2 here. So we have to multiply 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. In our second fraction, what cancels? The 4 and the 4. What are we left with? Just x. X times 1, which is just x. In our second fraction, what cancels? Or our third fraction? 2x cancels, so we're left with what on the top? 9 times 2. Awesome, which is 18. Then we just solve for x. So subtract 10 on both sides. X is equal to 8. All right, let's do number 9. Okay, what is our least common denominator here? Awesome. X minus 3 times x. So we're multiplying everything by x times x minus 3. So in our first fraction, what cancels? X minus 3 and x minus 3. So what are we left with? X times x minus 2.
Chris, real quick.
In our second fraction, well, not really fraction, but 3, what cancels? Nothing. So here we have plus 3 times x minus 3. And then that's equal to what cancels on the right side of our equation? The x and the x. So then we have 2x times x minus 3. Now we have to do a lot of distributing. So x times x gives us x squared minus 2x plus 3x squared minus 9x is equal to 2x squared minus 6x. Let's combine everything and move it all to one side. So here we would have 4x squared minus 11x. I'm going to subtract 2x squared on both sides and add 6x to both sides. So 2x squared minus 5x is equal to 0. How can I factor this? Does 2x squared minus 5x have anything in common?
Yes, x.
Awesome. We have an x in common. So we can take out an x, and we're left with 2x minus 5. What can I do next? We need to equal everything to 0. So x is equal to 0. 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 is one of my solutions, and then I add the 5 to the other side and divide by 2, so x is equal to 5 over 2. I need to check for extraneous solutions. If I plug in 0 here, I get 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. If I plug in 0 here, I get 0. So does 0 work? Can I have 0 in my denominator? No, so 0 does not work. So my only answer is 5 over 2. So I'm going to do one more. Do you want to see 10, 11, or 12? Yeah, I'll do one of those for sure. But I'm going to do one more of 10 or 11 or 12. 12? 12 is a good one. All right, let's see if we can factor anything. Can we factor x squared minus 2x? How?
You take out the x.
Thank you, Kennedy. All right, so it factors into x times x minus 2. What is our least common denominator? X times x minus 2. Perfect. So we multiply everything times x minus 2. X times x minus 2 and x times x minus 2. In our first fraction, does anything cancel?
Can you stop?
Both of them. So this cancels out with this. Yeah, I think so. So we are just left with 12. X minus 2 and x minus 2. So what are we left with?
3x.
Just 3?
X.
Just 3x? A minus 3x. Got to be careful with that negative. And then in our third fraction, what cancels? X and x. So then we're left with 3 times x minus 2. So we want to distribute here. So we have 12 minus 3x is equal to 3x minus 6. Yes. Combine like terms. Add 3x to both sides. Add 6 to both sides. So 6x is equal to 18. Divide by 6. X is equal to 3. And then I can plug that in, check for extraneous solutions, but I get 1 and 3 minus 6 would be 3. So we're good. This works. All right, let's do one where we find the inverse. So to find the inverse, we just have to change f of x to be y, and then we flip x and y. So this is x is equal to 7 over y plus 6. And we need to solve for y. How can we get y out of our denominator? Awesome, we can multiply y plus 6 on both sides. So we have x times y plus 6 is equal to, what happens to the right side of our equation? What happens to the y plus 6's? They cancel. So we're just left with 7 on the right. Now again, my goal is to get y all by itself. So I need to get rid of everything else that's going on the left side of the equation. So what should I move first, the x or the plus 6? The x. X is being multiplied to y plus 6. So how do I move it to the other side? Divide it. So divide both sides by x. So we have y plus 6 is equal to 7 over x. Then what should I do? How can I move that 6 over? Subtract 6. Subtract 6. So I get y is equal to 7 over x minus 6. And this is the inverse, so I would just say y negative 1, just to name it the inverse. All right, let's take a look at number 40. So we're doing the same thing. I'm going to do it on the side over here. So I have x is equal to 5 over y minus 6. So I just flipped my x and y. And now I want to solve for y. So I want to undo everything. I'm going to add 6 on both sides. X plus 6 is equal to 5 over y. Now I can multiply both sides by y, or I can say this is x plus 6 over 1, and I can cross multiply. So you get the same thing. Y times x plus 6 is equal to 5. Again, I want to get my y all by itself, and since y is being multiplied to x plus 6, I just divide both sides by x plus 6 to get rid of it. So it cancels out. I have y is equal to 5 over x plus 6. Y is all by itself, so this is my inverse. I would just do that little negative 1 to name it. All right, let's look at 42. So I'm doing the same thing. Switch my x and y. So x is equal to 8 over 9 plus 5y. I need to get that y out from my denominator, so I can cross multiply. So I have 9 plus 5y times x is equal to 8. I need that y to be all by itself, so I want to move that x over. So divide it to the other side. So 9 plus 5y is equal to 8 over x. Need to subtract 9 on both sides. So 5y is equal to 8 over x minus 9. And then to get rid of that 5, I can either divide everything by 5 or just multiply everything by 1 over 5, 1/5, because 5 times 1/5 would just be 1, so that cancels. And then I have to multiply everything here by 1/5 also. So 1 over 5 times 1 over 5. So this would give me 8 over 5x minus 9 over 5. And this is my inverse, so I would just name it. So that was 42. Let's look at 44.